Welcome to the Vibrant You Health Show with your host, Blake Bars. At Nature's Pantry, our mission is to lead you to vibrant health through the best nutrition, supplementation, service, expertise, and healthy choices. In this show, we aren't interested in fads or quick fixes. Rather, we want to get into the holistic fundamentals of health. We want to answer questions like, what are the underlying causes to health issues, and what solutions can help lead us to vibrant health? You can watch every episode and listen to the podcast by visiting our website at naturespantry.life. The Vibrant You Health Show is brought to you by Terry Naturally Vitamins and Solar Ray Vitamins. At Nature's Pantry, we strive to work only with companies that maintain the highest standards for quality and efficacy. Terry Naturally and Solar Ray are two of the absolute best.
3, 2, 1.
All right, welcome everybody. We're so glad to have you here tonight as part of the Vibrant You Health Challenge and also as part of the Vibrant You Health Show. This is episode 46 of the Vibrant You Health Show, and I'm so grateful to have my friend and comrade, Tim James.
Comrades in health.
Comrades in health.
And happiness.
Yes, and Tim is a health coach. He's a chef. He is the host of the Health Hero Show, and he has his own supplement line called Chemical Free Body, and we're going to give away some of his supplements tonight, which you can find at Nature's Pantry. And there they are. And
5 prizes.
Yep. And so tonight's class is we're going to learn how to make yogurt. It is a beautiful night to learn how to make yogurt, wouldn't you say? If there's ever a time to learn to make yogurt, now is a good time. So we were going to start with a little bit of, just a little bit of talk about gut health. So kind of why yogurt, why is it good for your gut health? Why is it important? What is the problem with our gut health in our modern world today? Has anybody heard of the book Super Gut by William Davis? Couple? So that's a good one. I just listened to that a month ago on Audible, and it was pretty eye-opening. Did you guys know 70% of your immune system is in your gut? And your gut health dictates pretty much just about, it's so important. We think about it just like it's a, piping that just we put in some food and then poop comes out the other end. But there's a lot of things, there's a lot of processes that happen between here and here, and there's a lot of health implications in regards to that. And so, like metabolic health, blood sugar balance, weight management, detoxification, inflammation. So one of the things that I don't remember if it's William Davis or Davis Williams.
Dr. William Davis.
He has okay, William Davis, thank you. Dr. William Davis, he talks about the fact that our microbiome, the good bacteria, is completely depleted in our modern world, from antibiotics to chemicals in our food. Actually, Roundup is an antibiotic, which is in all conventional food, basically, where vegetables and crops are, especially wheat, gets sprayed with Roundup at harvest time. They spray it to dry it out so that it's easier to harvest in the machines. But this Roundup, or what's the other name for it? Glyphosate is actually an antibiotic. So that's killing and in our modern world, we're getting all these chemicals, we're getting all these pharmaceutical drugs, we're getting this processed food with lack of fiber, lack of nutrients, lack of things that the good bacteria needs to thrive on, like prebiotics, probiotics, fiber, prebiotic fiber, and regular fiber. And then we're not really connected to nature. So we don't have our hands in the soil. We're not killing our own game and getting blood under our fingernails. A lot of people are born C-section, and then they're pumped full of vaccines as soon as they're born, and antibiotics. And I actually did a course of antibiotics last winter, which I dreadfully regret. And then I got a full GI panel done, and like a few months later, and I found out that my good bacteria was almost completely wiped out, and I had E. coli overgrowth, Klebsiella overgrowth, and nematode larvae in the GI panel I did. I did that through parasitetesting.com. They test for over 40 different kinds of parasites, and the conventional tests that you'll get from your doctor, they test for 2 kinds. But they'll also test you for fungus, yeast, pathogenic bacteria. And so, Tim, tell me a little bit, when we talk about parasites, we're not just talking about worms, we're talking about a whole slew of things. So talk to me about the different types of infections in the gut, in the digestive tract that we're dealing with today.
Well, I think to go to a fundamental level, we have to look at what Blake was talking about earlier, which was our soil. Our soil health is degraded to the point where, and we are connected to the soil. And I've talked about this many times in my show and other things that I do when I'm talking to people, is that people are, what he said, disconnected from nature, but they don't realize is that you are nature. Like literally you are nature. And so if you look at your body, what's it mostly made of? Anybody? Water. Where do you find that at? The faucet. Where did the faucet get it? Right? Creeks, rivers, ponds, streams, right? It's water, right? What about the minerals that make up your bones? Where do you find those out there in nature? Right? In the dirt. It's in the soil. Okay, your minerals that make up your bones. Another thing is that what we're going to be really focusing on tonight is bacterium. Those bacterium in the soil, many of them are the very same ones that are supposed to be in your digestive tract and have been there for a long time. And what has happened because of chemicals, synthetic chemicals, after World War II, the chemical companies had to stay in business, so they started selling what? Pesticides, fungicides, herbicides, larvicides, chemical fertilizers. They started spraying our crops with them and getting them in the food chain. Glyphosate, as an example, the main ingredient in Roundup, is in 72% of rainwater. Let that sink in for a little bit. And this destroys your health. A lot of you that have had gluten intolerances and you've gotten off of the gluten and got some improvements, but maybe you're not quite feeling right. It could be a glyphosate intolerance. That's how pervasive this stuff is today. And these chemicals are destroying your gastrointestinal tract. One of the chemicals, and first off, you have to understand that there was just to put this in perspective and how terrible it is for our health, is that about 1964, I believe it was Ohio State University, did a study, and they took 1 acre of ground, farmland, and they weighed the bacteria in the farmland. Guess how much they found? 2,000 pounds, 1 ton of these beneficial bacteria that work with the plants in a symbiotic relationship to bring nutrients into the plant. And there's other things like mycelium that do the same thing. They bring nutrients to the plants, and they actually talk to the plants. And they'll be like, what do you need? Oh, you need a little bit of this, you need a little bit of iron, you need some water, and they shuttle it over to the plant, and in return the plant secretes sugars on the root systems for the mycelium. So there's an underground network. The earth is alive. The clouds are like the iris on the eye, opening and closing, keeping the temperatures regulated. The earth is a living being. It's a living creature. If you pan away slowly from the earth, all of a sudden the rivers look like what? They look like arteries. It's pretty cool. And they're moving. They actually are moving. They're flow, right? The water's moving. So you fast forward to 2004, they tested the water or the soil again. They did 1 acre and they weighed all the microbiome, these beneficial bacteria that we need. And guess how much they found? They found 100 pounds. And some of those were genetically modified. So just let that sink in for a moment. Like if you are Earth, you are connected to the planet. There is no separation here except we get to walk around. But when we die, we return to the Earth with that where we came from. And so like we have to understand and we have to start looking at this as we have to be stewards of our planet, stewards of the skin of the earth, the soil. We've got to start recolonizing these bacterium. I moved back home here a couple years ago to help my parents are just getting a little older and help them on the farm and stuff. And I never thought I'd be farming again, but I'm really excited to farm. And we're going to be doing it different. I'm not going to be tilling anymore. I might till one time to get this mycelium loaded in. I have a bunch of mycelium, but that's it. We're going to do regenerative agriculture. And I don't know about you guys, but this fall I was able to go up on Mount Emily and pick a bunch of huckleberries. And guess what? I didn't have to go weed the huckleberry garden. I didn't have to put Miracle Grow on it. I didn't have to water it. I didn't have to do nothing. It was nature. I walked up, I picked the berries, I saw a few butterflies, I went home. Right? It was a beautiful thing. It's an orchestra. And the soil that they're growing in is amazing. So that's what we need to get back to. And so I spent the last 12 years working on my gut health and that kind of stuff, and I realized that if I really want to get to the root of the cause, then I really got to get back into the soil and start helping with the farming. So we're going to help you guys tonight recolonize and refarm your digestive tract and make it fun with some kefirs and some yogurts that are absolutely delicious. And you're gonna boost your immune system. You're going to sleep better. Your strength is going to go up. Your oxytocin levels are going to go through the roof. You're going to become a much more calm human being. You won't be road raging people when you're driving down Adams. Just kidding.
Weight management is going to become easier.
How did you know?
Since the beginning, there's been bacteria, viruses, pathogens, parasites in the earth. This has always been part of the situation. And in fact, your body is only 10% human DNA. It's 90% other things like viruses, bacteria, parasites, believe it or not. So these things, we coexist with these organisms, and they're part of who we are. But the problem isn't the organisms. Like a lot of modern medicine and science, the germ theory kind of took over the terrain theory, and I think they're both part of this thing, but it's not just germ theory, it's terrain. It matters the health of your body, whether things are going to get out of balance, right? And so
that's the key word, Blake, right there.
Yeah.
So he mentioned he had E. coli in his stomach. You all should have E. coli in your stomach. Do you want E. coli in your stomach? You're shaking your head, no, but you're supposed to be there. It's supposed to be there. It's like you have to look at this. One day you're going to take your last breath and your heart's going to stop beating. And when that happens, what's going to start happening to your body? Just like if you throw a piece of fish up on the countertop and you leave it, it's going to start breaking down. Why? Because there's certain bacterium in there that are biding their time, they're waiting, they're kind of existing, and then when you die, they get to work. They're doing their job. They're supposed to be there. But what's happened is because of the stress in your life, because of the chemical toxins that are wiping out your digestive tract, and because of the degradation of the soil and the lack of nutrients, your immune system's dropped, and these things are out of balance. You take antibiotics, they crash those microbiome, those 60 trillion cells that are in your digestive tract, and then what you end up with is you're out of balance. So, and it's like,
so we got to get.
There's only so many people in a room. Think we're all like we're a gut right now. This is the small intestine. We're all perfect, but when the seats are full. But right now we have some empty seats. So what happened in this room? We took some antibiotics. We had some stress. So who fills up these seats? That's the key thing. Is again, we have to. It's just a matter of shoving the good stuff back in and growing it and keeping the E. coli and salmonella.
The antibiotics is a really good example because the thing about antibiotics is they just knock everything out. It's good and bad, right? And what's really amazing that some of the studies that are coming out and showing some of the plants that God put on this planet are far more sophisticated than any of these drugs could ever be. Natural herbal antibiotics like oregano oil and berberine and ginger and turmeric actually will harm and kill and knock out pathogenic bacteria, bad bacteria, and they will feed good bacteria. Hydrogen peroxide, for instance. You want to make sure you know what you're doing with hydrogen peroxide, but it is H2O2. That's water with an extra oxygen molecule. When you take that, when you know what you're doing and you take that, I'm not a doctor, but look, you can find, there's some books on that. One of them is called The 1 Minute Cure. There's also Dr. Thomas Levy talks a lot about this. I have a flyer and a show I did on this that I can refer you to. But H2O2, once you have that in the body, your body takes that and it has water and now has an extra oxygen molecule. The oxygen molecule will actually feed good bacteria and kill bad bacteria because most good bacteria is aerobic and most bad bacteria is anaerobic. So good likes the oxygen, bad doesn't like oxygen. Now that's also why other oxidative therapies, biooxidative therapies are great, like high-dose vitamin C, the chamber, ozone, O3 injections.
And your body your cells actually make hydrogen peroxide.
Yeah.
It kicks into gear when viruses and stuff come into the body and it kills it. That's what it does. So, but a lot of people's immune systems are crashed and they're not making it properly. So that's why he was talking about supplementing. And actually, we have a neighbor that's kept himself alive from cancer by doing hydrogen peroxide. And garlic, which by the way is really powerful. If anybody ever here gets a topical cut or an infection topically, all you have to do is press 1/3 garlic, fresh pressed garlic, and 2/3 like a carrier oil, or olive oil or something. So you got 1/3 garlic, 2/3 olive oil, and you mix it together in a little glass jar or whatever, and you wait 30 minutes and let it stand and kind of let that oil absorb the nutrients from the bacterium. It's high in sulfur. And you put that on your wound, and you change your wound 2-3 times a day, it will destroy any bacterial infection you have. Anything. But it will not kill the good. It will feed the good, and which is going to stitch you back together. And I've seen it with ingrown toenails personally on a child. Heather Mills, I don't know if you guys know her. She was that supermodel that was dating Paul McCartney. She got her leg whacked off. She was about ready to lose her leg, and then she flew to the Hippocrates Wellness Center, and they taught her this because they kept cutting her leg off because it kept getting infected. And they just showed her how to bandage her stump with garlic oil, and she healed herself. Right? So it's about learning about these things. These things are powerful tools. And once you have this knowledge, now you're very powerful, because you don't need to run and go get, jab a bunch of antibiotics in yourself and crash your immune system. It's like, and what's garlic cost? 80 cents?
And it's amazing to me, the more you learn about these simple natural things that are abundant and very affordable on the earth that will do the same thing or better, it's like we've replaced all of these very simple, easy methods with complex, toxic chemicals in pretty much everything in our lives.
And it's all driven by fear. So anytime you feel fear from marketing or anything like that, it's probably, you need to question that if it's fear-based.
Yeah, and so we're going to get into the yogurt making. I think the main, maybe overarching point is we need to learn the natural methods for knocking down the bad. We need to get the balance right. We need to knock down the bad bacteria, and we need to build up the good. So tonight is all about how do you build up the good. And here's the thing about this yogurt, and Tim will talk about it, but the conventional yogurt you buy at the store, at other stores, not here, is only fermented for 3 hours and has a few billion probiotics. This yogurt that Tim's going to show you how to make has several hundred billion, and it's fermented for 36 hours or however much time you want to do. And so that's the key tonight, and for boosting your immune system, your overall health, and leading to vibrant health for life.
Awesome.
All right, thanks, Tim. I'm going to let you take it away.
All right, cool. Here we go. Cue up the music. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about tonight is kefir. And so let me give you a backstory on this. So I actually had Dr. Davis on my show, and I knew he had wrote that book, the wheat. Here, I'll just come over here, the Wheat Belly. And I was talking to him, and I'm like, I really like this guy. This guy is really cool. And he's like, he couldn't stop talking about his book, the Super Gut, right? The one Blake was talking about. And I was like, well, let's just keep this episode focused on the gluten and the wheat, okay? And then we'll talk about the other one later. And so we did, and then he sent me the Super Gut book, and I started reading it, and he's telling me about it. I'm like, oh my God, yeah, let me get you back on immediately. And I was like super blown away. So because of that interview and that conversation that I had with Dr. Davis, I was literally like blown away. For the last 12 years, for most of you, some of you don't know my story, I'll just tell a quick one. I grew up here in LeGrand, based in Mount Emily, hunting and fishing, and we had a big ass garden, and we farmed a little bit, did Hereford cattle and grass hay and some alfalfa. And by age 37, I had severe gastrointestinal issues. I was bleeding rectally. I had to be life flighted to get an emergency surgery. My elbows were cracking and bleeding. My knee was cracking and bleeding with eczema. And I was tired. I gained 42 pounds. I just wasn't feeling good. Acid reflux was terrible. I was eating Tums and Rolaids, brain fog. I went from a high-level baseball player to I couldn't even run around a track like one lap without huffing and puffing. And if it wasn't for my dogs, I probably wouldn't have got any exercise because I was just so tired. I just couldn't. I was dragging myself, and I was living in fear too. So when you start, having bowel movements for 2.5 years with blood in them, after a while, and your elbows are bleeding, it gets daunting. So I went to this institute called Hippocrates, and I learned about digestive health and cleaning up the gut and feeding your body with living foods and all this detoxing stuff, and it worked. And so I got very inspired about it, and for the last 12 years, I've been on a mission to, what else do I not know? What else have they lied to me about? And so I started reading labels and what's this? And I look it up, and then I became like the label food Nazi. And I literally drove about most of my friends away for the first 5.5 years because I was just so on. I'm like, what are you doing putting that is going to destroy your health. You're going to get cancer. You know, I was just point blank because I had a friend that had cancer and we did this process together and he healed. He healed himself, like in 2.5 years. No chemo, no surgery, no nothing. So right in front of my face, I had a living testament of somebody that I knew was not BSing me. He was my friend. I've known him for years. And he dropped like 60 pounds and on top of it. But the most important thing was he got his health back. So again, I've been doing this work for 12 years on my own self and 9 years as a business. So I left financial advising to do health advising. And I had Dr. Davis on. And when he started talking to me about these bacteria, we're going to be talking primarily about two things tonight: kefirs and Lactobacillus reuteri. And he was telling me about this Lactobacillus reuteri and how there was this German microbiologist named Reuter, and he was studying the gastrointestinal tract of humans through the 1940s, through the 1950s, and into the 60s. So over almost working on 20 plus years there, 30 years. And what he noticed is that all of a sudden in the 60s, certain bacterium in the human gastrointestinal tract started disappearing. And he was like, what is going on here? I've been studying this stuff for 20 some years and all of a sudden these bacteria are just gone? What's going on? What happened after World War II? The chemicals, we just talked about it, the pesticides, the fungicides. And also in the 60s, what else happened? Pharmaceutical drugs launched. 1963, the measles vaccine came out. Even though measles was 98% eradicated by 1948 by the working class women's movement, the labor movements, by getting clean water, getting the dead horses and dead cows and dead goats out of the water supply and having sanitation workers clean up the urine and feces in the streets. So again, that goes back to environment. You are going to be the product of your environment. So as the working class movements came and cleaned up the streets and all that stuff, infectious diseases went away. Okay, it just makes sense. If you're wading around in human feces and urine, you're probably going to get sicker than if not, right? So it's just kind of common sense. So basically, so Dr. Davis is talking about this stuff, and I'm like, oh, so basically it's the chemicals. They've wiped out these certain strains of bacterium in our gut that are very critical, but they're very susceptible to these chemicals. Now, not all of them are susceptible, but Lactobacillus, and it's named after this German microbiologist now, Reuteri, is very powerful. And Dr. Davis at the time had about 90-some people in a test and group, and they were taking this stuff. So with Lactobacillus reuteri, what you're going to do is you're going to make this stuff if you want to. Hopefully you do. And you're going to do a half a cup a day. And you're going to do a half a cup a day for the rest of your life, basically, until I can figure out a way to make this sucker stick permanently. So, and you're going to enjoy the yogurt, right? So it's a half a cup a day, and what you should see is a chart going up. In about 90 days, you're going to reach full colonization. Like Blake said, what he figured out is that this strain's been missing, but they couldn't get it into a probiotic in enough, they're called CFUs, colony forming units. Basically, the army of the bacteria couldn't get high enough counts to make it do anything. It wasn't that impactful. And so, but Dr. Davis figured out a way to culture this strain in yogurts for 36 hours in a temperature-controlled environment like this Lavelle yogurt maker that I have here, at 100 degrees. If you do it at 100 degrees for 36 hours, you can get up to 500 billion CFUs, colony forming units, which is it's a lot, okay? And you have that, and you have a half a scoop of it. And I have clients that tell me it's their favorite meal now, is this yogurt with some blueberries, and we have raspberries tonight, or you can put blackberries or huckleberries. If you got huckleberries, those are the best. Put those on there. So I am totally stoked because he's like, Tim, you should see what's happening with these people. It's amazing. Like, gastrointestinal issues are getting better. Their energy's coming back. Their oxytocin levels are going up through the roof. That's the happy molecule that makes you happy. And oxytocin also makes it so that you're not road raging, right? And so what they've noticed is that people started becoming calmer. Their relationships with their spouses started improving. Pretty cool, right? From one little bacteria. Their strength went up. You're going to get stronger. Physically, you'll get stronger. I mean, people back coming across the plains, they could beat the crap out of us. I mean, they were working their bodies. We've gotten weak. We've gotten weak and lazy over the years because of all these creature comforts and conveniences, literally. And your sleep. Is anybody here dealing with any sleep issues? Like, all right, so, but here's the thing, is like, I thought my sleep was amazing until I started taking this yogurt. And it was like, it took my sleep to a whole nother level. And I'm just like, oh my God. So I'm like, I got to get myself some of this stuff. So I went online, and the first place I literally found was a place called Cultured Food Life. And that's where I got your recipes. I printed them off of Donna's website, Donna Schwenk, culturedfoodlife.com. Had her on my show. If you want to check it out, it's on our website at chemicalfreebody.com under the podcast tab, or it's called The Health Hero Show. And just look up Donna Schwenk. And Donna, I start talking to her, and we just hit it off. And she's just like, she's a working class person. Her health was destroyed, and the doctors couldn't figure it out, and she's like pissed. And so she's in the library, like trying to figure this out. And then somebody comes up or throws a book at her, said, read this. And it was about kefir. And she's like, whatever. And she like looks at it, but she gets doing it. And she literally heals herself with these kefirs, guys. Like literally. Just like, and she's just like a regular person like us, right? And she's like, her mind's blown. She's like, I can just eat this kefir? And then so she started getting into it. What was it? She built a whole business around her transformation now called Cultured Food Life. And I started telling her about, I said, I'm looking for this Lactobacillus reuteri. And she's like, oh, we have that. And she goes, I actually work with Dr. William Davis. I'm like, no way, I just had him on my show. This is so cool. Awesome. And then she's like, yeah, in fact, I don't know if I have that page. Oh, here it is. I ripped the top of it off. But this one's the Lactobacillus reuteri. And then it says right on the front, as recommended by William Davis, MD, author of Wheat Belly and Supergut, which is, so that's cool that those they knew each other. So she specifically got the really good strain, because it's kind of one of those things like, you have to make sure you get the good stuff, right? You want to get the good stuff rather than buying some crappy stuff over here that might work, but it's maybe not, and it's because it's $1 cheap or whatever. So you want to get good strains. Because I don't want to put my time, energy, and effort into this thing without having the right strain. So I found it with her, and then she got me going. So I got going on that. And then I started doing the kefirs, and then I started doing L-Gaceri, which is another one. I've got a couple more I want to do. I'm going to start doing cultured foods. But tonight we're just going to focus on the reuteri and the kefir. All right, so I guess since I'm talking about reuteri, we'll just finish talking about that. All right, so in your handout here, these are 2 recipes. Now there's different ways that you can make the L-Reuteri yogurt. The first one on the vegan recipe, I put, just to give you guys an option for those of you who don't want to do dairy, oat milk. And I actually made some. I have the oat milk one here, so you guys are going to get to sample it. We have the dairy version that you can sample. And I got to tell you, because they were like, oh yeah, you can make this stuff with dairy and stuff like that. I'm like, whoa, no, sorry. I haven't touched that stuff in a long time, and all my problems went away when I got off of dairy, so thank you very much, but I'm not going to do it. And Dr. Davis was like, okay, dude, wait a second. You got to understand this. It's like, it's different. Okay, this is different. And so what I learned is that remember, everything comes from this planet, right? So a cow ends up eating the plant, the grass, right? And it ends up making milk for what? For its baby, until the baby's weaned, and then there's no adult cows drinking milk. So why would I do it? All my health issues got better. But these bacteria are foundational. When these bacteria are going into dairy products, they're going to consume all of the lactose, all of the sugar as a fuel. And so all of the stuff that's not good for you in dairy completely gets converted back to its elemental state. So it's no longer dairy, because these bacteria literally eat it and make more bacteria and poop it out into a different form. That's kind of what yogurt is. It's kind of like bacteria poop. So are you ready to eat this tonight? Because that's the... What's that? Yeah, so she's talking about the main protein in dairy, which is called casein, and too much of it actually can cause cancer. I'm talking, more than 5% of your diet by weight, and that was shown with testing with Dr. T. Colin Campbell, who wrote it was part of the China study. I don't know if you guys have seen that book or not or read it, but I don't know exactly what it does to the casein, but what I can tell you is, like, I've done enough of the dairy version now. I have not felt nothing. But if I take milk, if I drink milk, I get like mucus in my ears, like that. If I do wheat or dairy, I have instant mucus in my eardrums. I can feel it, and I can pop my, when you're coming down cabbage and it's like that's a hill for those of you that are listening. It's a big steep hill that we drive down from Pendleton to Pendleton. And you're changing elevation, yours are popping. So it's kind of like that. So I get kind of mucusy. So basically, whether you do the dairy or not, even if you do the dairy, I was told to do the dairy the first time on that culture, and then after that, take the starter from the dairy and then add it to your plant-based version and go. And that will really make it robust. Okay, so if you're to do the dairy, I'll just give you an example. I use this one. This one's just Organic Valley, half and half. You can also use whole milk, and you can use 2%. If you use half and half, very thick. I like it that way. It's really thick. If you use the whole milk, it's a little bit more yogurty, and then more water content, and then the 2% is like that as well. Okay. Now the thing is with if you want to turn to the El Rotary Superfood yogurt, this is not the oat one. This is the dairy one. It's in the back there. Okay. It says important. When you make your first batch, please use ultra pasteurized milk. Okay, make sure it's organic milk that's ultra pasteurized. And the reason why is because if there's any other bacterium in there, you don't want to culture them. Remember, because there's only so much room in the room for bacteria. We want just Lactobacillus reuteri to grow. We don't want any other forms growing in there. So that if you can't find ultra pasteurized milk, the recipe is right there. You can heat the milk to 195 degrees or 90 degrees Celsius and hold it there for 10 minutes until, if you can't find that ultra pasteurized milk. Then you cool it down until it's back to 100 degrees before you add the starter cultures. If you put it in over 100, you could end up killing that culture. So you have to bring it back down after you do it. But if you do this, it'll be nice and cold. All I literally do, guys, I'll just show you how really easy this is. It's like stupid simple. So there's different, does anybody in here have a yogurt maker? Anybody? Okay, got a couple people. Okay, so it's really important. You need a good yogurt maker. Okay, it's very important. It has to keep a constant temperature. You can't do this in a dehydrator. How do I know? Because I tried, and it doesn't work. I made one batch that worked, but the other two didn't work. I was like, I'll have to buy one of these things. So I like this brand. This one's called a Lavelle. There's other ones that will have, they're like bigger and you could put quart jars in it, like 6 quart jars. You can do those too if you want to do a couple different things, I guess. Maybe you want to make half of it Lactobacillus reuteri, half Gasseri. But I like the 2 quart because the reason why is because I'm into time management. I have so many other things to do with my life. I want to get this done as fast as I possibly can. I want to make as much as I can to last as long as I can before I have to make another batch. So these 2 quart ones from Lavelle, L-U-V-E-L-L-E, it's a great company. They make great products. They actually make awesome blenders, even though this isn't that one. If you're in the market for one, but basically what you do is like you're going to take this out. This is I'll show you that later. That holds the water. Literally, it's so easy to make this. So you'll take a little bit of the milk, you pour it in the bottom. You're going to take the Lactobacillus reuteri starter, and you're going to put in 1 packet per quart. The directions are there. It comes with the directions too for it, right inside of it. I put 2 packets in because this is a 2 quart. I'm making a double batch basically, or whatever. And then I'm also going to put in 4 tablespoons of this. It's called Prebio Plus. Blake was talking about prebiotics. These are basically different types of sugars, inulin, and what they do is they're going to feed the Lactobacillus reuteri, and it's going to be the food for them, besides the lactose. Okay, so you're going to pull the directions out for 1 quart. You're going to put in 1 of these packets. For 2 quarts, 2 packets. For 1 quart, 2 tablespoons. For 2 quarts, 4 tablespoons. It's pretty simple. You put it in there, and you just put a little bit in, okay, a little bit of the milk, and you put those things, and you mix them. I use like a flat spatula, like a flexible spatula, and I kind of mash it around. I make a slurry out of it, so it gets mixed really good. And once that slurry's done, then I add the rest of the milk, and I open up another one and put it in there, and then I literally put the top on, put the button up, put it in here, fill this up to water to the mark, plug it in, and then I go beep, 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 and I set it to 100 degrees, and then beep, 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 36 hours, start, and I walk away, and in 36 hours, it's done. And then I will transfer it from this into a bowl. And I'll put this over here so you guys can see it. Put that there. You guys see that, Blake? Back towards me? Okay. Like this. Okay. Boom. Like that. There it is for the people that are watching at home. I don't know, can you guys see that? Okay, cool. And you end up with this friggin' awesome stuff. And what's fun about this is that you can just eat it plain. You can put the blueberries on it if you want. If you wanted to put a little honey on or whatever, you want more sweetener. You could actually take some of the Prebio Plus, because it's a sugar, and dust it a little bit with it. But you can also take this and make it savory. Like you could put Bragg's liquid aminos on it, and cumin and coriander, and you could make this into, I've used it for like, I was trying to think when the last time I haven't done the savory stuff for a while, but you can, basically look at it as a base. It's a base that you can go either way with, right? You can do it plain, you can make it sweet, you could also make it savory, as an example, okay? And it works out really well. Now, let's do the other one. Okay, so, that's the, oh, and when you make it the next batch, it's the same process, except for the slurry, instead of taking the packets, you're gonna take the existing culture and you're gonna put 2 tablespoons per quart. So then I put 4 tablespoons for 2 quarts, and then I put 4 tablespoons of this, make the slurry, add the milk, set it and forget it, and done. That's it. And in 36 hours, you'll have another batch. And as soon as you're done, I would recommend as soon as you're done, clean it out really good and dry it, and be careful, and then put it away so it's, or make your next batch. So 1 quart is 4 cups. And if it's a half a cup, that means you're 8 servings. 2 quarts is 16 servings. So depending on how many people in your family are eating it and how often, you really don't need more than the half a cup. It might be hard to not eat more than a half a cup because it's so good. It really is. It's pretty yummy. And what you'll also notice is that what I've noticed is good things in my life that I've changed my life to, even if I didn't like them in the beginning, eventually my body starts craving them. Like it's been months since I've done this, and I'm like, I can't wait to eat this stuff. Like I look forward to it. I'm so excited because not only does it taste yummy, but I also know it's made me stronger in like working out and for lifting things and doing stuff. It's helped me sleep better, and I've become a more calm person. So there's nothing wrong with that, and that's good. And this is just, all we're doing, guys, is we're replacing what God put inside of us in the first place that's been missing from chemicals wiping it out. So you're becoming very godly when you eat your probiotic yogurt, which is good. All right, now let's go to homemade oat milk with El Reuterai yogurt. It's a little bit different process. What I would recommend is that you get some gluten-free oats. Okay, you want to get some gluten-free oats. You're going to need the high-speed blender. I'm not going to make it tonight because then we have to heat it and cool it down, so I'll just walk you through it. You also want to have a nut bag. Does anybody have any nut bags at their house? Any nut cases? Family members? Okay,
Yep.
Nut bag.
We got nut bags down in the store, and as Tim said, we brought in all those starters in the store too.
Yeah, they're all here.
So a quick side note on that, Tim, could you tell a little bit about Gasserai, because I messed up the order and I didn't get the Reuterai yet, so it'll be on the way.
Yeah. Well, it's another strain, and what's cool about Lactobacillus gasseri is that they're mixing it with the Reuterai, and it's really working for SIBO, that small intestinal bacterial overgrowth. I think they're doing like a 50-50. I was looking to see if it was on here. I'll just read it to you. So it's one of the Lactobacillus gasseri, L. gasseri, is one of the most important gastrointestinal microbes of the thousands or so species in the human intestinal microbiome. It's likely a keystone species, a species that is important for the proliferation of metabolism of numerous other microbes. And it's the same thing. It's the exact same method to make gasseri as it is to make Reuterai. So it's just a different packet. And then I just have, for me, I know the green one is Reuteri, and then the white, I have another one like this that's white with green flowers. That's my Gasserai. So it's a very sophisticated method to tell the difference. Yeah. Sure, you could do that, but I make them both because I make them in these big quart jars. And I do mix it, but I mix it after the fact. I'll do a half a cup of this and a half a cup of that, right? So that's how I mix them. And then I'm getting like 500 billion of both. I'm just like, yeah. Right, so it's pretty cool. And, I will do anything to boost my immune system. And so when I found out about this stuff, I was like super, super excited because I didn't know nothing about it. And you know what's cool is like before 1917, before refrigeration, this is how foods were preserved. Like they had underground cellars, but everything, they have the bacteria in them. And that's how they preserve them. They pickled stuff. They fermented, lots of fermented foods, fermented everything. And they could keep foods throughout the winter time and stuff like that.
I'm pretty sure the Gasserai was one he talked about in the book for being super important for weight management as well.
Okay.
And so we do have that one, and there's a few others. You'll see the Kefir Starter, the Super Prebio Plus, and then the Reuteri will be on the way soon.
Yeah, you're going to need the Prebio Plus for the Gasserai and the Reuteri. You're going to need these. This goes with both of those when you make it.
And then we also have the vegetable for canning vegetables or pickling.
Yeah, this will be fun. You can actually start culturing your own vegetables, like people did prior to 1917. And some people kept doing it, I guess, but most quit. Okay. All right, so the oat milk. All right, so you get a high-speed blender. You got your nut bag. And you could use a cheesecloth, it says, or a butter muslin. You have a saucepan. This is a saucepan. One yogurt maker, that one. And you have to, again, the yogurt maker has to go to 100 degrees and maintain its temperature for 36 hours. It's still the same thing as the timing as the other ones. So for 1 quart, you're going to take 1 1/4 cup of these gluten-free oats to 4 cups of water, and you're going to put it in here and you're going to blend it up. And then you're going to strain it with this, pour it out and strain it and get all that milk out, work it all out until all you have is the oats left over, and you put the oats in your what do you call it? What are those things where you save the veggies? Composter. Throw it in your composter, feed it to your chickens. And you do that, and let's see, do that. And then it said add the oats, the vanilla, and the water in a high-speed blender, and I was like, I had the vanilla later. I'm just like, why would I blend it? Because I might be losing some of it I just didn't want to do it. So I think I think I've made this recipe way better. So you place the nut milk bag in the this was a smart thing. You place the nut milk bag in the saucepan, and then you just you squeeze it out of the bag right into the saucepan you're going to use. That was a time saver. And then you turn that saucepan on and you start heating it up. And you got to keep it moving, or the oatmeal, the starches it'll get really lumpy. So you keep moving it, you keep whisking it. I had a whisk, and it took a little bit, okay? Bring the milk to a gentle simmer, and then continue to stir until it thickens. Takes a little bit longer than a few minutes. Remove from the heat, and then you got to cool it down to 100 degrees, just like if you didn't get ultra pasteurized milk and you had to heat it, you have to bring it back to 100 before you add the cultures. Otherwise, you're going to kill the cultures and you're wasted your time. But once you get it down to 100 degrees, then you just basically add in the Lactobacillus reuteri or Gasserai, and then you put in the Prebio Plus, the prebiotics. You stir it in really good, and then you put it, and you pour that into the yogurt maker thing. Set it. 36 hours, 100 degrees, go. Set it and forget it.
Hey, it's Nicole Haggerty, your holistic health and fitness coach. If you want to improve your health and life and get lasting results, you have to be the change you want to see. Let me help you be that change. Find me at NicoleHaggerty.com.
Hey Eastern Oregon, my name is Justin Hernandez. I specialize in sports performance training for middle school, high school, and college athletes. My program goal is to optimize an athlete's potential on all playing surfaces. The Breakfast Club motto is creating elite athletes, but even better leaders.
This is Summer Steele of Body Sawersa. I am a licensed massage therapist and certified personal trainer. I work with bodies of all shapes, sizes, and abilities to help them live a fuller and freer life. Connect with me on Instagram and Facebook under Body Saorsa, Body SAORSA, or contact me at 541-786-5245.
My name is Blake Bars, and I'm General Manager of Nature's Pantry here in La Grande. I had a terribly unhealthy lifestyle when I started working here. I just didn't know how simple and powerful healthy habits could be. Now I love being able to lead others to vibrant health here at the store, through the health show, and in the health challenges we host twice per year. Learn more at naturespantry.life.
Hey friends, Lacey here with Wild Holistic Nutrition and Fitness. As a certified personal trainer and holistic nutritionist with 17 years of experience, I'm passionate about guiding others in their journey to wellness. I work in the areas of sports performance, group and individual fitness, personal training, behavioral and nutritional coaching, and gut biome health and assessment. I'd love to help you feel good so that you can thrive and meet the purpose you were made for.
Tim James here, founder of ChemicalFreeBody.com and host of the Health Heroes Show. After regaining my own health and having massive gut issues and surgery, I'm on a mission to help others do the same. If you're ready to make your health a priority, lose that weight, increase your energy, and just wake up and feel good, you can reach me at ChemicalFreeBody.com.
Actually, this is my first batch. I was making coconut, so this is my first batch of oatmeal. And it's a little different. But it does the job. And so, and you might want to try it. Actually, out of the plant-based ones that I did, I like the coconut one better. The problem with me is I just didn't like the coconut out of the metal cans, so that was it. But so the oats don't have a metal can around them, so. But I did like the coconut vegan version better than the oat so far. But we'll give you guys samples. You can try them. This one was a little, I mean, they're supposed to be this way. They're supposed to be sour. I'm a little spoiled on, and I never thought I'd be doing dairy products for anything again, but it's just like, it's so easy. Like, you don't even have to cook it. It's just like, you just literally just put it in there and it's done, and it's simple. Okay, so that was that. That's L. reuteri, the vegan version, and also the dairy version, which breaks it back down to its elemental state. So I don't think if you had dairy issues, you're gonna have any issues with the dairy version at all. I have not seen anybody have those problems. All right, any questions on L. reuteri before we move on to kefir? I was gonna say I was a really good teacher, but she has a question, go ahead.
Would it be okay to buy gluten-free oat milk?
Yes, but you're going to need to read the ingredients and stuff and the directions and stuff, because there are certain things that do not work. There's certain emulsifiers, ones that I wouldn't want to do anyway, but like xanthan gum and then gellan gum. That stuff doesn't work with this stuff. Okay. It doesn't work. I can't remember if guar gum's okay. Guar gum's okay for me, but I don't know if it's okay for the bacterium or not. Yes?
So Thai Kitchen now has a coconut milk. You find it
In the boxes. We have it in the boxes in the plant milk section.
And it is just coconut and water.
Yep. Oh, it's the box ones. You guys have those now?
Yeah, so she said the Thai Kitchen coconut milk is in the boxes and not just in the can now.
Okay, cool.
But the stuff in the can has all the bad ingredients, and the stuff in the carton is just...
Right, yeah.
And that's in the plant milk section there at the store. Hey, Tim, would you do me a favor? Are you going to use that blender? Move it. Is that
better?
Yeah. There you go. Thank you.
Then I do have a question. So, can you take a packet of the...
L. reuteri?
Yeah, and a packet of...
L. gasseri?
And make a double batch that way?
Well, you can. Yeah, you can, because you can do it anyway, but the thing is that I don't know if it's going to... Again, in this room, there's only so much space, right? So what the goal here is we're trying to get to 500 billion CFUs. And when you look at the chart, if they have it on here, oh, they do. This is very important. You guys, if you took financial class, you know that in the beginning, you start saving money, it's like growing like grass, it's real slow. But 20, 30 years, all of a sudden it goes, woo, and it's the 8th wonder of the world. It's called compound interest, right? It's the exact same thing that happens with these bacteria. In the beginning, we're talking about billions of CFUs. The first 15 hours, it doesn't even move. It's not even doing anything. And it starts to head up, and all of a sudden, about the 27th hour, the last 3 hours, I don't know if you guys can see this. Here, I'll put it on. Blake, can you see that? Or wait here.
Yeah.
Okay. And then there, hopefully you guys can see that.
There's only 7 cameras.
So
get it all right.
Yeah, the last 3 hours, it explodes. That's why you have to do 36 hours. It's so important because it's the last few hours that does that job. So to answer your question, I don't know, but when Dr. Davis said when you mix them together, there's going to be less, but you'll have 2. That's why what I do is I make my Gasteri and my Rotari separate, and then I just put them in a bowl together and eat them afterwards. But you could do it. I don't know if I'd have to ask him. I don't know. Nobody's asked me that question.
So it's like a half a cup you need of each one each day?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Really good. Any more questions about Rotari or Gasteri?
So then you can make that with, you can make either one with the coconut milk?
Sure. Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep. You got it? Okay, cool. All right, moving on. And then we'll get you guys some samples. All right, so kefir. Kefir is like so easy. I get everybody started on the kefir. All right, so, well, I'll just show you one that's not made, one that is made. So I've picked this one. Again, it's a dairy product. This is Strauss Farms. You guys have seen it. Blake, you're going to have to start ordering more because I know everybody's going to start buying it and I'm going to be out. So and I'm already having a hard enough time with this stuff. All right, so it's a whole milk. And, well, first off, I just want to say, what is kefir? Because I was like, what the heck is kefir? Kefir is beneficial bacteria. Now, what's cool about Donna's kefir is there's about 50 plus or minus strains of bacterium in this one kefir. So you're putting about 50 strains of different bacterium in your digestive tract, your intestinal tract. What's cool about this is how she literally healed herself. She started with kefir. And what's great is it's super easy to make, okay? And they made it even easier. These are called, this is like a kefir starter. You guys probably heard of kefir grains, okay? Kefir grains are kind of looks like that pudding right there, that oatmeal pudding it's kind of like balls and little things that are stuck together and you put it in there and it starts eating and growing. It just literally grows. And then you can have more kefir grains to make more batches, and you can start giving it to your neighbors, and before too long, the entire town will have it in their refrigerator, which is pretty cool. Now, for some of you that might not want to deal, because you have to maintain those grains. They're like a living organism, so you're constantly having to do stuff. If you go on vacation, you can freeze them maybe twice a year, and then you have to revive them and bring them back, but they're like a little child, right? So what she did was she took the grains and ground them into a little starter. And so you can make about 30 batches out of one of these little kefir starters. So so instead of maintaining the kefirs in the beginning, you might want to try this little starter packet. So Blake has it down there. So kefir grains are 50 beneficial bacterium. And again, if your digestive tract has empty seats, what do you want in there? Do you want bad? You're not the bad, but you want the ones that are beneficial to you while you're alive, or do you want more of the ones that are beneficial to break your body back down in the dirt? So that's what you want to fill the seats up with, the good ones. That's really important, okay? So this one's really easy. You take this milk, right, and you might need to get a quarter to a half a cup of the milk out of here. Get rid of it and give it to your cat or your dog or whatever, neighbor's cat or something. And then you're going to take, since this is a half gallon, okay, it's 2 quarts. This is a half gallon. It's going to be a half a cup of the, it's going to be 2 of these. You're going to take 2 of these. Pretty sure, because I haven't done it in a while. 1 quarter servings, okay, 16. Yeah, it's 1, 2. It's 2 of these. It's 1 per quart. 1 per quart, right? And so, but once you're done with this, and then literally, guys, all you do is you just take these kefir things. You put 2 packets in a half a gallon. If you have a quart, you just put in 1 packet. shake it up, set it on your countertop somewhere, but you want to make sure that the lid's kind of covering it so flies can't get in there. Lots of flies this time of year. But so it can expand, because it's going to be growing and doing that. Same thing with these. So what I do is I put that stuff in there, right, the kefir grains, and not the grains, but the kefir starter mix, and then I seal it, and then I just shake it up really good, and I set it, and then I just pop the top so it's kind of half up. And in 18 to 24 hours, it's done. I mean, that's literally it. All you do is pour the grains in there, shake it up, and just walk away. And in about 18 to 24 hours, you can check on it. You can see when it starts getting really thick and lumpy, it's pretty much done. Now, here's the bonus I didn't talk about. If you want to second ferment your kefir, as soon as it's about done, like it's somewhere and you see it, you're about ready to pull it, you can go get like a little piece of a lemon peel or a little piece of an orange peel or 2 or 3 little blueberries or a raspberry or something. Kind of squeeze it and throw it in there and shake it again. Let it stand for 1 more hour and it will explode in growth because it's already eaten up all the sugars from the lactose. And so it's literally like starving. And as soon as you throw any of those berries in there, it's like, it sucks it up and it like supercharges it and it makes it even more powerful. And you can also, it gives it a kind of a little bit of a flavor, right? So you can have this lemony flavor or you can have a limey flavor. You can mess around with it. That's called second fermenting. So put a little, not much, because if you put too much of that berries and stuff in there, it'll kind of make it really liquidy. So just a little teeny bit, just for flavor. You'd be surprised how far it goes. That's called second fermenting, and you can make your kefir even more powerful for you. And that's pretty much it on the kefir. If you do the grains, then all the instructions are at culturedfoodlife.com, and she has a gazillion recipes. I'm so excited about all this stuff. I just want to keep learning more and doing more stuff. And there's kefir sodas that you can make, and all kinds of cool stuff. So what are the benefits? Like Hippocrates said, all disease begins in the gut, right? So these are some of the things that I've noticed on our site where people have taken kefir. They've seen improved blood pressure. They improved acid reflux. They've used it in toenail fungus. One woman took her husband's toenail fungus and took this kefir, soaked his toes in it for like an hour or two, something like that. And then there's an article in there on it. And then all the bad part just kind of sloughed off. And then they did it again. It completely just killed it and it cleaned it up. And then it allowed the nail to grow out. Why did he have toenail fungus? Because his good bacterium in his gut was destroyed, and he probably has some fungus and gut dysbiosis, and that's why it's showing up in the toenails. All right. Helps people with diabetes, blood pressure, helps control food cravings, candida. It's good for that. But I want to talk, in conclusion here, I want to talk about bacterium in kefirs and about detoxification. So you guys are probably familiar with bisphenol A, or BPA, right? Aaron Brockovich, that whole movie and stuff, shaking your head. Some of this it's just a toxic liner that was used. It's an off gas, and they put it in metal cans, right? Because we're going to protect you from the metal, and we'll give you this other thing that kills you. And, it's just silly. Pesticides, sodium nitrate, and I actually printed some stuff off because this was interesting. The chemical solution, sodium nitrate, is used as a food preservative in cured meats because it contains powerful antimicrobial properties, which prevent food storage. This stuff is highly toxic, and if they didn't use it on conventional meats, when you'd walk into a grocery store, 40% of the meat would be gray in color. Would you eat it? No, it's unnatural. They're putting this stuff in there to keep it looking red. But it's also used in fertilizer, explosives, rocket fuel, and enamels made of pottery and glass. Sadly, it's even found in organic food. We can't seem to hide from it. It's been linked to a variety of chronic degenerative diseases, including cancer. However, lactobacillus, like you're getting your Rotaray and your Gasray, and its many friends are capable of breaking down this toxic chemical and is breaking down heavy metals and heterocyclic amines, which are compounds formed in meat when they're cooked at high temperatures. So if you leave your barbecue too long and roast the crap out of your deer steak, you're going to make these heterocyclic amines, and these bacterium have the ability to break that down too from those carcinogens. Pesticides can actually be removed in about 5 days with these bacterium. So it's pretty powerful stuff. It's not just the benefits of, you know, putting back what was there, but it's like it allows you to, in this toxic world, to be able to chelate. 50% of your detoxification is actually happening from these bacterium. So in a toxic world, it is so important that you guys, and I'm so glad that you're here tonight and learning this information, because this stuff will literally change your life. It's literally like, you guys could be like, in 90 days, if you get going on this, like new you. There's going to be a new level of you in 90 days from this one thing. And that's learning just the kefirs and taking kefir. And you're going to want to do 1 cup of kefir per day. 1 cup. That's all you need. 1 cup of kefir, half a cup of Gasserai or half a cup of Reuterai in those yogurts.
Both of them every day? All 3 of them. Is it all 3 every day?
Well, I usually have people start off with kefir, right, and get that habit going, and once just baby steps. Now, if you have stage 4 cancer, like maybe you want to get it going on all of them, you know what I mean? Or if you have SIBO, and you're like, I'm tired of this SIBO, you know? And you start doing this stuff, and you're going to start building up your bacterium. You're going to boost your immune system. You're going to start detoxifying better. You're going to sleep better. You're going to be happier, and you're going to start just seeing things work better in your body. Yeah. And you can do it at home, and you can do it yourself, and you can become your own doctor. And this is part of you learning how to self-heal. That's what it's all about. So I'm very excited about this. Yes?
Do you have any information about kombucha, like if it's similar or not?
Yeah, so kombuchas, the most important thing is like, it depends. It's like, how's it made, what's it made out of? I've noticed in my work with people with the gastrointestinal issues, like if they're taking kombucha, it's going to be really hard for them if they have one that's not so great to get rid of candida, because it's just going to keep feeding it, right? Because there's what's it made of? It's byproduct, a little bit of yeast. There's sugars in there, and it makes a little alcohol, right? Which is more sugar. But there are some like these kefir sodas and stuff like that, and kombucha. You can ferment it with different stuff. You'll see it on Donna's site. You can make your own kombuchas and stuff, and maybe you can speak to that, because you guys have some kombuchas here. But
yeah, probably
I'm not like
lower sugar content is key. So the Bear Culture kombucha, the one on tap, is very low sugar, high probiotics. The Rowdy Mermaid brand that we have down there is really good. But there's some of the brands have really high sugar content. So if you can find one with like 2 grams or 8 or less, versus some of them have like 20 grams of sugar. So, which most of it's like fruit sugar, or they use cane sugar in the fermenting process, but that's how you ferment. Like you said, the bacteria eats the sugar. So yeah, I think it's can be very good for sure. But you want to be careful in what brands you're getting, how much sugar, and then also that if you don't have a specific issue like a yeast issue that it can feed.
Yeah. If I was you and I don't know you, if you had candida or something like that, I would just not do those until it was completely handled. And this will be one of the things that should be in your repertoire, your toolkit to help you with that. And, I'd probably say at least 50% of the people I've coached have candida. So I know half of you have it and half of you probably don't in this room. That's what I've seen. Are we all wrapped up?
That was awesome, Tim. Let's give Tim a round of applause.
Awesome. Cool. And so, did you want to wrap up your show and then?
Yeah, I think
we'll do the giveaways. We have giveaways, 5 giveaways.
We have some giveaways to do,
We'll give you some tasty
some tasting. Yeah. So would you gals mind starting to hand out some samples? And thank you. And then we'll do some giveaways at the same time. So we could probably do the bigger cups.
Yeah, and if does anybody not want dairy, no matter what? Okay, so that's easy. Just one.
Yeah.
No, I get it. I was like, it was hard for me to do.
And this is the oat milk, right?
Oh, okay.
Can you make the kefir out of like almond milk or coconut?
On that site at Culture Food Life, there's 17 different non-dairy versions for kefir, so you're good.
Okay.
Yeah.
The 18 to 24 hours with the kefir, that's just out.
Can I have a bigger spoon?
Yeah, and that's 18 to 24 because it's like people's room temperatures are different. Yep, you just put it in the fridge and you're good. Yeah, but you can double ferment it. Remember?
Do you think we should mix it together so that people can have a little bit of both? Or should we go separate? We'll give some of each
Probably
separate.
do it separate.
Yeah, and this is the plant-based, and that's the dairy, right?
Yep.
Cool.
That's plenty.
So Rebecca is the plant-based one.
So make sure we have enough.
Okay. And I could get you a bigger serving spoon. So Tim, okay, so here we can use this one. That might help. And Nicole, there's another one back here.
I also have kefir made too. If you guys want to try some kefir, so we can do that.
Oh, cool. Yeah. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. This is Tim's chemical-free body supplement line. A few of the products, a few of our favorites, and we're gonna give them away to the challenge leaders in this room. And so first off would be, I'm just gonna ask who here has over 500 points total so far? Okay, and keep your hands raised. How many of you are over 700 points? Keep your hand raised if you're over 700.
Who has the most points?
What's that?
I was leaving.
Yeah, you can look. Yeah, you can look.
I know I'm number 8 on the leaderboard.
Okay. Huh? Okay. Well, okay, so you stick with my plan here. Over 700, keep your hands raised. That's just 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, over 900, keep your hand raised.
I have 1559. 1,000.
Keep your hands
Keep
high.
it raised if you're over 900. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, over 1,100. Keep your hand raised. Over 1,300. Keep your hand raised. Over 1,300. Keep your hand raised. And you guys are crushing
5.
it.
There it is right there. 5.
There they are. Okay, so Bonnie, well, we can. So what we could do is.
Well, just what was your points? What was your points?
Let me look again.
You find out what your
Well,
points.
it's supposed to be anonymous, so I was trying to keep it kind of general.
Oh, I didn't.
Yeah.
I was trying to hide everything.
Hey, but I would like to kind of maybe match the product up with people what their needs are. But what I want you to do is give me like a 10-second spiel on each of these products.
Okay, this is our first one. This replaces the 85% of nutrition missing in the soil today in the food chain.
Green 85.
So that's as close to a fresh pressed juice as you're going to get. It's a super nutrient dense drink. If you're not.
This thing's amazing. A lot of people tell me they don't have sugar cravings as much because they are getting the nutrition they need in their bodies.
If you do that twice a day, it'll be just as big of a deal as doing it'll literally change your life. You just do it twice a day, every day.
Let's start with gut detox. Tell me about gut detox.
Gut detox was our second product. This is an ancient Ayurvedic formula that is really good at balancing the entire body. But we noticed that the average person's got about 6 to 12 pounds of all this impacted fecal material in the gut. So when we start off, we'll have you double down and take a whole bottle in 15 days. And that stuff just gets removed gently. It'll microscopically clean those intestinal villi, those little hair-like structures in your gut, without diarrhea, which is good. So you can do it while you're working, and it's or traveling or playing sports. You don't have to worry about sprinting to the bathroom. No diarrhea.
Yeah.
So that one's really important, and this one actually is so important. This is almost the most important one to start with because the gastrointestinal tract is the driving engine of your health, and so if it's plugged up, it's not working well, you're not going to be able to get the nutrients in through the lining of the intestines into the bloodstream as much. And so,
yeah, absolutely.
And over in India, where Dr. Treadway, who brought this stuff over here, he said at the 2 clinics that he went to, and these guys were like Yoda and Obi-Wan, and he basically trained underneath. He said, everybody, no matter what people's issues were, period, everybody got this formula. It's 3 fruits. It's an ancient formula. And he goes, I tried to get him to change it and do a couple things. He's like, no, we're not changing that. It's been working for 5,000 years. It's just like, so this is a very important formula.
And I'm going to tell you about Toxin Detox because it's one of my favorite products. I'm in the supplement business, in case you guys didn't know. And so I look at supplement labels all the time. That's what I do. And when I was learning a lot about detox, I was learning about all these binders and all these things that are good for the liver and all these things that bind to metals and some things that bind to mycotoxins. And I started reading the back of this label, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, this has everything that I could ever imagine wanting in a detox product. Zeolite clay, and it's got a higher amount of zeolite clay than some of the ones I have seen. The zeolite is all they have in them. It's got cilantro, which is amazing binder. It's what's called a weak binder, so it doesn't bind to minerals and pull out the minerals you need. Like charcoal would be a strong binder, and that would you only want to take for a couple days for like poisoning or a quick detox. But that's a strong binder. But cilantro is a weak binder that's amazing. Milk thistle is amazing for the liver. This thing's got apple pectin. Apple pectin is a binder they used in Chernobyl to pull out radioactive toxicity from people. Like this, and this is, I just named like 3 of the 30 things in this.
Yeah, this one's a pain in the butt because there's so many ingredients that we have to source to get this one, and if one of them's delayed, everything's delayed, right? But this was actually 2 products. Dr. Treadway was actually he was a former Marine, and he was talking to a VA doc. And these guys and gals were coming back from Afghanistan, Iraq, Iran. They were literally dying of depleted uranium poisoning. And he's telling Scott this. He's like, well, the VA doesn't let me, diagnose it nor treat it. He goes, it's killing me. I want to help these kids. And he's like, well, maybe I can help out. So he built 2 formulas. He said, have them take this, that was the zeolite, and a bunch of herbs. He said, they'll do this one for a month to 3 months, depending on how bad they are, and then they'll stick on this one for at least a year, or to life, probably, because of all the pollution today. And he's like, okay. And he started literally telling these soldiers that. He's like, look, I can't treat it, I can't diagnose it, but this is what's going on. He was risking his career, but he's like, take this and take that, and don't call me, right? And it worked. And so when I learned about chemtrails and all these toxins and stuff, I called Dr. Treadway, and I'm like, look, dude, I've heard about these things, and I looked up on the whole chemtrail thing because a lot of my friends were like, that's BS. So I went and studied what the biologists study. They take soil samples and water samples every year. They're out doing this stuff, and aluminum toxicity is going through the roof. So I don't care if it's chemtrail or not. It's going up rapidly, and it's killing plants, matter. And so I said, dude, I'm not going to go out like my grandpa and have dementia and Alzheimer's. I need something to chelate these heavy metals and the radiation out of my body, this pollution. And he's like, well, I got these 2 formulas that I use for depleted uranium. It would work perfect for that. And I didn't really have the money to launch another 2. I'm like, geez, can you make them into 1? 6 months later, he figured out he added 4 more herbs and was able to balance it, and that's toxin detox. So the Green 85, I literally take 3 of these in the morning and 3 of these and wash it down. This is my insurance policy to keep my gut squeaky cleans for maximum absorption, and this one keeps the heavy metals and stuff at bay, and then the greens is the nutrition.
Yeah, and give us a quick one on this and the mushroom.
Okay, turmeric 100. Does everybody know about turmeric? It's like great for anti-inflammatory and a bunch of other stuff.
And also for your gut health. And do you know what Dr. William Davis says? Do you know what he says? If turmeric is amazing for the gut health, but if you have absorbed like black pepper or other things that help it absorb, it's not getting past where it needs to get past into the digestive tract. When you get it by itself without the things, it really is good. And that's one of the things I love about Tim's turmeric.
Yeah, so turmeric came out, and then very soon thereafter they added black pepper because the substance in it is supposed to help with absorption, and that's been pushed. That narrative's been pushed out there big time. So I've had a lot of people. The reason
black pepper, by the way, helps with absorption is because it puts holes in the lining of your gut. And I think probably a little bit isn't that big of a deal, but a lot over a long time is not a good idea.
Let that leak in.
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So we didn't need that. So I was like, okay, it's time. We had the money. We're ready to launch another product. And I wanted to do a turmeric product, but I wanted to reduce my cellular inflammation. I didn't do it for pain. That's not what I built it for. It just happened to work for that. Arthritis and back pain, joint pain, and that stuff, headaches. So I was reading a study, and there were 63 people on this study, and they did a very special process to the curcuminoids, the active ingredient in the root that is the anti-inflammatory component. And I'm reading this, and then when they gave it to them in dry form, it was pretty substantial. But when they suspended it into a liquid, it was 185-fold the anti-inflammatory of taking turmeric orally through the digestive tract. And I was like, I took a fold. I'm like, that means times. That's not percent. That's like a lot. And I was like, holy crap. And so I zipped the article, the study over, the clinical study over to Dr. Treadway. I was like, dude, look at this. And I'm like, can we replicate this? What do we need? He's like, well, we need to get one of these machines. They're very expensive. So we had to delay the turmeric, save up the money. We got the machine, and this is the first thing. It was our first liquid turmeric, our first liquid tincture with this proprietary cellular absorption system. I have 3 tinctures now: the turmeric 100, V-Stack, which is vitamin A, D, C, zinc, quercetin, and a fulvic humic mix. And then I also have multi-shroom, which I have some here, which is about 6 mushrooms and a fulvics and humics. And so what you're able to do is, like, I don't put emulsifiers in it, so you have to shake these things really good. And then the turmeric, do not spill it on anything. It will be yellow forever. That shirt will be it'll kind of go with that. But what you do is you shake it up really good, because the constituents will settle. We don't put toxic emulsifiers in, like xanthan gum or gellan gum. And then you dry your mouth and squirt in 1 drop or 20 drops and swish it around and wait. And you'll literally feel it disappear through the mucous membrane in your mouth. And it goes right into the blood and right into the cell. Because think of it as nano. It's so small, and it'll go into the blood, it'll go through the blood-brain barrier. So this tincture, and like this, these are like literally like oral IVs. This is as close to you're going to go to getting like an IV injection, but you can do it orally. And it's super powerful, and we've noticed about a 50% reduction in pain and recovery for people that are taking this. We have a lot of athletes and a lot of people that have pain and stuff. And then multi-shroom was, for me, again, I build this stuff for myself, literally, because I was taking all these different things, chaga, reishi, maitake, shiitake, and I had all these bags, and because I was trying to build my immunity with mushrooms. That's a whole other pillar that I could build my immune system on. And then I talked to Dr. Treadway, and I was like, hey, man, can we think maybe we could use that proprietary cellular absorption system and make it with mushrooms? You know much about mushrooms? He's like, oh, yeah. So I said, well, whip it up. And so he did. So we've got chaga, lion's mane, the fulvic humic acid, cordyceps, reishi, shiitake, and maitake. Now, what's been really interesting about this, I, again, built this for immunity. I was on Ashley James's podcast called Learn True Health. And if you want to find out the deep super dive on this multi-shroom product, go to Ashley James, Learn True Health, type in Tim James, and find the one where I talked about the mushrooms. I went deep on this, 2 hours. 2 hours on this. And the reason why, because I told her, I'm like, Ashley, we have this new product that's freaking awesome. It's going to build your immune system and all this stuff. And she's like, yeah. And she tells me the story, and then she took it. Now, unfortunately, Ashley had basically had a stillbirth. And for about a year and a half, she was just crushed, devastated. It was just hard on her and her husband, Duffy. And she literally had not had a good night's sleep in over a year. Like, just couldn't sleep. Duffy had never had a dream before. And so I sent him a couple bottles up to try, because we're just friends. And she called me, and she's like, oh my God. She's like, I literally went to bed, and I woke up the next morning, and it's the first night I've had sleep. And she was like super excited about it and blown away and so thankful. And I was like, wow, I didn't know it was going to help people with sleep. And when we looked at it, maybe it's the reishi in here and the fulvics and humics and stuff, but it made such a big dent in her life, and she just started sleeping instantly with it, and started restoring her sleep. And then her husband started having vivid dreams for the first time in his life. So she's like, you have got to come on here and tell all about this. So she was really pumped about it, and I went on her show, and we spent 2 hours on this product. So if we have anything that we come out with, it's been very well thought out. If you see anything with our label on it, I've spent a lot of time and effort and energy on it.
And some of the cleanest products I have seen literally, and that's what I do, is I look at products and evaluate what their ingredients.
This is one of our company shirts, and the ink right here is chemical free. I guarantee it's the only shirt in this room here that has chemical free ink. So I really think about everything, and I'm open to learning. If you guys find anything cool or neat, I want to know about it. Because I will try it on myself, and if I get results, I'll get it on my coaches, and then our inner circle calls that I lead every Wednesday, and then eventually out to everybody else. Because we're all about learning. And if I find something else that's better, whoop, I'll go that way. I'm gonna do. And Blake will see me. I'll switch, and I'm going with whatever works better.
How was the yogurt?
Yummy.
You guys like it?
Good, yeah.
Surprisingly.
Yeah. The one with the dairy half and half is pretty bomb, right? It's like, that stuff's ridiculous. The oat one was it was pretty tangy. It was pretty tangy, but it's kind of a new flavor, maybe a new texture. Yeah. Did you guys have the kefir too? Did you guys try the kefir? No. Okay.
All right, let's give Tim another round of applause.
All right, thanks guys.
Good job, man.
Appreciate you.
That was awesome.
Yeah, and if you guys, we carry our products here, but there's also, if you guys wouldn't mind, if any of you are, how many of you are taking chemical-free body products? Anybody? Oh, awesome. So, what's that? All of them. Okay, that's right.
All of them.
So
nice.
if you guys have had a good experience with the products, we're having a contest right now. So for the next 25 days, there's a 30-day contest. You go and leave a review. So log in as a client on the website. So it has to be a verified review. To make it verified, you log in with your username and password. Go to the product that you like and click on the review thing and leave the review. And then you could it's a video review contest. So you're going to do a 1-minute video with your phone vertical, so we can also use it on social media. And then just leave a 1-2 minute thing. It's like, my name's Christy, I sell cows for a living, and I live on a mountain, and I take Drink Green 85 and it makes me feel great and it solved this problem. And just be real. And submit it. And then the winner gets a whole year's worth of Green 85 and a 1-hour consult with me to talk about your health or play guitar or whatever you want to do. And there's a second and third prize winners, but we should give these away.
Yeah, let's give them away, and we'll just wrap it up. And you guys, thank you so much for joining us tonight. We really hope this yogurt making skill, you're able to do it and it blesses you, and that please share with us how this goes for you and if you have benefits from it. And again, thanks for everybody who's watching the show. And we just thank you guys. God bless you all. And remember, small habits lead to big change, and you are worth it. Thanks, everybody.
Awesome. Thanks,
bye-bye.
The information provided in this show is intended for your general knowledge only and is not medical advice. If you have or suspect you have a specific medical condition or disease, please consult your healthcare provider. If your provider has a strong understanding of nutrition and holistic health, even better. The opinions expressed on this show are those of the host and the guests and do not necessarily reflect the views of Nature's Pantry.